It all begins. The red lights go out, the green lights are on, and the drivers launch off the line, diving into the first fight for position. Noah Osbaldeston gets a fantastic start from second place. He immediately overtakes the leader, decisively covers the inside line, and secures the lead in the first corner. As they say, you can't win the race in the first corner, but you can certainly take the lead in it. Welcome to the first round of the F4 Challenge by the Ukrainian Racing League. This is Laguna Seca, and ahead of us lies a fierce battle, crashes, and intense emotions. Meanwhile, let's look at the start in the mid-pack. Brandon Devine hesitates slightly off the line. Kyra Krassenburg immediately gets by him, and Maksym Dzhantimirov and Philpott try to follow. 3 wide into the first corner. Miraculously, no contact. Brandon fights back against the attacks and holds on to at least 9th position. And this is just the beginning. Right after the incredible start, the drivers continue the fight in the mid-pack. Brandon Devine ran a bit wide in turn 6, but kept his speed up and confidently overtook Kyra Krassenburg right before the legendary Corkscrew. 8th position successfully reclaimed. Philpott is chasing Kyra Krassenburg. Main straight, slipstream, and what's this? Bump drafting in an F4 car? Yes, it's a bump draft. However, Krassenburg brakes too late, runs onto the gravel, and loses the position. Philpott is now in 9th. Maksym Bunich passes Richard Lucas in the first corner to take 14th position, a similar overtake to one we've already seen today. But look at Maksym Dzhantimirov. He's losing control. The car slides, he catches it, it slides again, and he catches it again. He goes onto the gravel but saves it from colliding with the tire barrier. Maksym, be careful. This is Formula 4, not Richard Burns' rally. However, despite that moment, by the end of this lap, he had already caught up to Richard Lucas and minimized his losses, making the pass in the final corner. Eldar Noohi makes a mistake exiting the last corner, which holds up Kamto, and David Da Silva instantly capitalizes. On the main straight, he pulls alongside Kamto and tries to attack Eldar. Both make a mistake in turn 1, mere millimeters from contact. David briefly loses control of the car, and that's 2 positions gained for Kamto in a single corner. But later on the same lap, Eldar responds with a late braking dive into the Corkscrew, and he retakes his position. Meanwhile, Kyra Krassenburg catches Philpott. They are side by side approaching the sharp left-hander, and Kyra gets ahead. An extremely risky and brave maneuver, executed masterfully. But the drivers approach the Corkscrew. Andy brakes too late, there's slight contact, and Kyra is spun around. The hard-earned position turns into a loss of 7 places. It's so painful to watch as drivers pass you one by one. She waits to rejoin safely, but it looks like the rear suspension is damaged. Kyra heads to the pit stop. And here is a 4-way battle. Illia Rakitin tries to attack David Da Silva, but leaves the door open for an attack from Charles Wimbley. This slows them both down, and Gergo Danko is right behind, looking for his own opportunity to join the fight. A bit of minor contact, but thankfully with no consequences. Roman Sorokivskyi makes a dive in the first corner, looking to challenge Richard Lucas. Richard defends well, and this battle continues for a whole lap. ending with Lucas slowing down and letting Roman by. A very strange situation, but an overtake is an overtake. The battle between Maksym Dzhantimirov and Dmitro Zalozhnikov. Dmitro makes a small mistake exiting turn 3, and Maksym takes 11th position in turn 4. Illia Rakitin makes a mistake on the brakes into turn 1. A slight lockup, too much speed carried into the corner, and he spins. An instant loss of 2 positions, and Devine is all over him. A tight battle for several corners. The drivers are side by side, but in the end, Brandon gets ahead of Illia. A mistake that cost 3 positions. Philpott, after the collision with Kyra, also made a pit stop and is now trying to recover. On his path is Richard Lucas in 14th. It wasn't a difficult pass, but it was an important one for the championship points. Racing isn't just about overtakes. It's about the masterful fight between attack and defense. Battles can last for several laps. We can't show you all 3 laps of the fight, so we can only enjoy the result of the duel between Illia Rakitin and Devine, which ended with a pass only because one driver was just that little bit better at that moment. Krassenburg catches Richard Lucas, and he lets her by. Not all overtakes happen after a hard fight. Some are about the fight with the car, about the will to continue and not give up even after a crash and a pit stop. And here is our final battle. The intense fight for the lead between Eldar Noohi and Noah Osbaldeston ends in drama in the final corner. Eldar goes for a desperate attack, hits Noah's rear wheel. The car loses stability, and Noah is spun into the gravel. It's a loss of not only the victory, but also a drop to 3rd place, as Kamto, who was chasing them from behind, manages to get past. And so, our sprint race concludes. The drivers cross the start-finish line. They have a few minutes of rest before the 40-minute main race, which includes a pit stop.